When you're talking about forgiving a man for cheating, is he thinking about the bigger picture when he cheats in the first place? You can't put that on women. And you can't put that this whole conversation on women not forgiving men anymore. Like it's
I
it's
wasn't.
just
I
not
wasn't
the
saying
same.
that though.
Yeah,
Okay, but
and
that's what that
but the
was his
thing is,
example.
but what I'm trying to say is, what I'm trying to make sure is understood is that there were the consequences of cheating was not the spouse running at that time in comparison to today. So it wasn't the bigger picture was my wife is gonna leave me. That was actually a like crazy
Yeah,
outcome.
nowhere in his head
Like
that
my
she would
wife
leave.
is leaving me is insane. That's not happening.
Well, that's
Mhm.
because she probably lacked resources to leave. So
That and that's what I was trying to get at.
but
Back in
even
those
but
days,
even if because even post that, right, even post back in those days, I'm not saying back in those days where they didn't have that ability, because they've had the ability for at least 50 years.
so we'll say the 80s.
Even the 80s, let's go with the 80s, right? um the 80s, well, yeah, 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s. But it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is now we've got to this point where running became the new thing that signified empowerment. I was able to run. If you see that he's using, this is the stupid shit that they're saying. If you see that he's using Apple Pay and not a physical card, run, sis. If you see that he's charging that credit card and not his debit card, he don't got money. Run, sis. Like, that's the stupid shit that I'm talking about, right?
well, those are examples that that support your argument. True. But we're saying run as if it always means something bad. Sometimes people do need to run from these men or from that relationship. Some people do need to run. Okay? Did we say hello Harriet Tubman, where you running to? No, we didn't. She needed to go. Sometimes it was not easy for people to leave and they had to stay there. Now, in this day and age, yeah, I got my own shit. And that's where that empowerment comes from. Like, I don't need to stay here and I don't need to put up with this hardship that I'm no longer capable of. I have the resources and I have the ability to walk away from you. And I'm just putting it out there that sometimes there's a difference. Some people leave too easy, but some people just have it.
But like, that's my thing. Removing and leaving is different, right? And we're not confusing them, right? Removing myself from a situation because there's no room for me to grow is not the same as saying um I don't have to tolerate or deal with this, right? And this is just a general statement. And I think I believe what happened is, it's work in progress. I believe what happened is we got access to resources. We got access to the ability to build ourselves, because everything you said was I, me, I have. And because I, me, I have means in my mind, I qualify and deserve X, which also means I don't have to deal with you or any of this. Does that make sense?
It does, but that's not the way that I was thinking because that would be a part of the problem. People that just leave too easily. But I'm saying that in a situation where I'm in a relationship and we've probably went through a couple trials and tribulations already. We went through some hardships.
Mm.
Now, if I feel like, all right, I don't want to keep doing this because I'm in this relationship, this person's not changing, and there's no room for growth here, and I need to leave, then I can do that.
See,
Okay,
it's the need to leave for me.
like,
It's the because that would speak to the endurance of what he's saying. Because just because you're ready to give up and the other person is trying, it's it's not always going to be where we're both trying at the same time. Because I won't appreciate your effort right now because I'm being stubborn per se, or I'm just too blind to see that you're trying, or I'm too upset, or you did something that I feel is whatever it is, maybe disrespectful, whatever, and vice versa. So I don't think you really ever need to leave. I think that in your mind you have so many other options, and there's this thought in your head that the grass is greener.
Options that definitely does play a part.
we have people where this self-empowerment has now also sparked entitlement, and people think that if you struggle, that is for the weak, the poor, and the undeserving. And the craziest thing is, those who struggle typically have the most. And looking back at everything that's happening right now, we're in the microwavable era where people want to, drop a song and this is the one, right? And it's like, but back then you had to drop albums. You had to put in your work. You had to do your bid. We also have people who grabbing podcast mic and think because they got one or two videos that hit 600,000 or 1,000,000 views that they lit forever. And then they realize you need 100 more of those every 6 months. So like the thing is that we got to this mindset that if we go through something and say that we tried, it makes it okay for us to quit. Not understanding is like, okay, you tried until you faced real adversity that was consistent, but you never broke through. Like that's what I'm saying with the endurance. Do we have the endurance to break through, whether it be your life, your relationship, or your job, whatever it is, maybe even your own insecurities, which is why you're seeing those same people who do not have the endurance constantly are running out of relationships every single time that they have a little bit of adversity, every single time that they feel uncomfortable. And that's the one thing that we are lacking is the ability to embrace being uncomfortable. That's why there's not that many successful people anymore. There's not that many real successful people who can teach you. The biggest speakers that we are seeing are the ones who went through the most shit. The biggest CEOs failed so many times. I mean, if you think, and I know we hate him, but think about Trump and his life. He was not successful this entire time in his whole run. He even lost the last time prior to.
But I think that's also because we're constantly being fed wins. Like if on your
The
phone,
highlights.
yeah, we're constantly being fed the highlights, and if that wasn't the case, then we would respect the people that lost more. He lost. He went bankrupt. He's a piece of whatever, however you feel about him, but you know that he hasn't always been on top.
And he's never stopped.
Yeah.
Even last week, right? The thought of cutting the umbilical cord and pushing your child out seems crazy because you don't want them to struggle. A previous conversation.
Yes.
We don't even want our children to struggle because we're like, damn, I know what it feels like to struggle. I don't want my child to feel and go through what I went through. They need to, because if you are the one who struggled and made it out, you're not understanding the lessons that came with those struggles. And if you strip away the struggle from your child, then you're going to strip away the ability to endure, right? They've never had to. So why would you expect them to do it now? It is a foreign, let's just say hypothetically, I have a son who's 11 years old and I removed all adversity of his life besides his normal school adversity, right? And he goes to college. After college, he comes back home. He lives home. I never push him out. I say, hey, listen, whenever you're ready, you're ready. And now he's 30 years old, he's 35 years old, right? Which they're saying the average age a man is moving out is going up and up and up and up, right? He's 35 in America. He's 35 years old, and then he gets out there and he falls on his face and he breaks down. You know what that breakdown and that loss is? His first real loss at such a late age. And realistically, a lot of people who were already embodying struggle moments, not the whole life, have figured it out by now. So you really compare yourself and you're usually comparing yourself to those who already went through the process and now can reign. There's an old saying, and the saying is, the grandfather has a Honda, the son has a Mercedes, the grandson has the Rolls Royce, and then the great-grandson has the Honda. What do you think is missing? Adversity. Adversity is breeding that character. Adversity is teaching you how to value something. Adversity is teaching you how to earn something. When I take away that adversity, most times the wealth is lost. 60% of wealth is lost by the grandchild. Okay? That means that there is something that is not being something intangible that is not being implemented within or passed down in these generations, and it's literally the ability to endure and overcome and have the sense of ownership. We all know if I have to work 40 hours for $1,000, I'm gonna value that $1,000 more than somebody who had to work 1 hour. We all know that. So how do you put your kids in that adversity state? Is you have to be able to allow them to fail. Whatever's going to be something that's going to be against the odds. You have to put them in a situation to lose so they can understand what else is out there, how to accept the loss, how to accept rejection, and then you have to be there to push them through to make sure that they don't quit. But if you do that too late, it's impossible. You're going to be babysitting forever. Like, that's the thing. Everybody's not going to make it, including your own. Like, I have kids right now. Maybe I believe in my daughter right now, and she's 3, and my son, and he's 11. Right? I believe in my children. That doesn't mean that my belief in them means that they're going to be successful. It doesn't mean that they're going to be strong. I can only do but so much. At the end of the day, they have to make their own decision and be able to say, I have the ability to endure whatever it takes to get to the other side of things, no matter what it is, right? But I can only preach it but so much. I can only demonstrate it but so much. At the end of the day, they're an adult at some point. Some people are stronger than others. But if you do not have a tight grip, more are going to fall through the cracks than aren't. And I think that's the reality of it. It's like there's a healthy way, and I don't believe in passing on pattern of saying, hey, I was in one toxic relationship, it's normal because my mom and dad did it or whatever, and now I'm in this toxic relationship, it's normal, and this toxic relationship is normal. Is there a healthy way to break through? Yes. I don't think, that's why I'm saying remove yourself, because there's a difference between understanding that you're stagnant, understanding that you're constantly feeling depressed, understanding that you're constantly feeling worthless and invaluable, and versus saying, yo, I always got to go through something with this person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just ask them to wash the dishes every day and they just wash half the dish. Why can't they wash the full sink? We start to make the small things so much bigger. And I actually was reading today, it was posted on my Instagram, and it's called The Psychology of Emotion. And the more you tie, people do not realize that your emotional ties are habitual and they deepen the more the habit persists. So if I have an emotional tie to the fact that you leave the door unlocked, right? And it becomes a habit, it's going to become a bigger and a bigger and a bigger emotion that I'm going to derive from that one action. And now I feel like you're an idiot because you keep leaving the door unlocked. But really, it's just the door being unlocked. You know what I'm saying? Exactly, because you have the emotional ties. That's what's happening. And then let's say I leave, and the first thing I say is, she's so dumb, she couldn't even lock doors. Like, you're so dumb because that was such a small thing. If you saw it unlocked, just lock it. You get what I'm saying? So that's what's happening right now. We're conflating these small things into big things because we have these big emotional ties to these things, and we do not have the ability to endure, and we were never taught it at the same exact time. That's what I believe. You can read it.
This episode is sponsored by Lamar's Truck Sales. Here's a commercial.
What's up, everyone? This is our customer right here, Jafra. He's picking up his truck.
We said why?
We set him up with everything from A to Z. His decals on the side of the door, pallet jack, his DOT inspection, his insurance. Also has a load waiting for him, so when he leaves up out of here, he started making money from day one. Check it out.
That's what I do.
That's the client, truck, pallet jack. That's what we do at Lamar's Truck Sales. Come see us, we got you.
Thank
Yes,
you,
I learned how to
Lamar.
drive a box truck right in the last 3 months. So I got into the trucking business, you know.
What?
The first time I drove a box truck, there was a big ass UPS truck. I was like, this shit is crazy. And why the fuck is this nigga in the middle of the road? Rome. like, yo, move over. Like, you couldn't just went a little bit up. I'd be like, they don't have any trucker etiquette, bro.
Just bringing you got what you ordered. Sorry, stupid us.
He's with Monkey? Oh, I know her. She is.
Oh yeah, I do know
Good
her.
afternoon.
I seen her before.
The fact of the matter is this.
Nah, I think she's from New
I
York.
personally cannot wait for the BBL era to be over with. Sick of the BBL warriors. Y'all bitches gonna get enough of jumping out the window to risk your life. Smack dab on that table, fiending to carve into your body like a Thanksgiving turkey. Just for a nigga to lay up with a big bitch like me, cause I'm funny. It's crazy. It's crazy, I tell you. It's crazy. A big bitch like me, he gonna lay with me regardless, cause I'm funny. Yeah, he is. Absolutely. On a genuine tip, y'all way too concerned with having a perfect body for these men that don't even like women. Cause the real men don't give a fuck. I'm built like a linebacker. He's still gonna fuck with me. I do it all. I make the jokes. I cooks, I cleans. I can rap. You can freestyle, whatever you want to do. Work on that personality. And I'm gonna keep it super tall. This is not even to knock the girlies. You want to change your body to how you want to see yourself? Do you, boo boo? But what we not gonna keep doing is knocking the bitches who is cool with their natural body. Okay? We not gonna keep doing that. Work on that inside. Work on that inside, that personality. Get that right. Then you'll be good.
Chef's kiss. She had me, but I don't like funny women, so I'm good on that. But I don't like joke. Like, don't joke with me. There's nothing to joke about.
You sensitive?
Just be pretty. Just be pretty. I want to see you, not hear you.
Damn.
What are you saying?
I don't like funny girls. You could be smart, intellectual.
Don't make me ha ha.
First of all, off this video,
I don't be finding I don't be finding women funny.
Unsending a message in his DM right now after he said.
I don't give a fuck. Unsend them shit. You try to crack a joke. You better send a meme. I've never had a girl that's very funny. I don't think I've ever met a girl that was very funny. That's very funny. No, maybe she made me ha 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 because she was fucking nuts, but that's not funny. That's crazy. Like,
You're crazy.
Yeah, but that's why I found it funny. Like, but yeah, she's cool. I think I like what she was saying though. Shout out to her. I laughed at her because she said she's built like a linebacker. but some of them BBLs look good though, so relax. Like, some of them get a pass, but I agree there are too many.
There are too many.
But we can still sprinkle a couple.
There are more that look bad than there are those that look.
Nah, the thing is, you don't even know the ones that look good. Yeah, I didn't. I thought that it was natural. Yeah, you want to? You're not even on that side anymore.
You don't know anything about me.
I know
a lot.
You don't. Rome swear he knows things.
Listen, I check on the story. I'd be like, yeah.
No, literally, I'd be like, did Rome look? Literally.
You know,
I was like, okay, good, no Rome.
I saw you, and you had her in the thing cheesing too. I was like, that's cute.
I don't know what you're talking
Always Sans boyfriend too. That's crazy, right?
I don't know what you're talking about,
okay.
so let's just move on.
I digress. Anywho,
what is this?
Success is complicated.
Maybe it's just me, but I thought that the goal was to create awareness, to, normalize seeking help, to make therapy accessible, to remove the shame around mental health struggles. But somewhere along the way, destigmatizing mental health has taken on a life of its own. And now, instead of people getting better, I just feel like people are getting worse. We didn't just normalize therapy. We turned it into a personality trait. We didn't just encourage self-awareness. We turned every feeling into a diagnosis. And instead of using mental health language as a tool, we've started using it as a shield, justifying avoidance, self-sabotage, and emotional fragility in the name of protection. Now everything is a trigger. Everything is trauma. People say, I can't do this. It's bad for my mental health. When what they really mean is, this is hard and I don't want to deal with it. But when did mental health become about avoiding life instead of learning how to handle it? Good mental health isn't about comfort. It's about capacity. It's about having the emotional, the psychological, and the cognitive range to handle life as it comes, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Your mental health should be challenged, because if your mental health can't withstand stress, discomfort, or uncertainty, then you don't have mental strength. You have emotional dependence based on the right circumstances, and life does not care about your circumstances. And I'm serious, y'all. Like, really, ask yourself, has your mental health journey actually made you stronger, or has it made you retreat further into protecting yourself in the name of good mental health?
First of all, now I'm pissed. I've been saying this shit for 6 years, okay?
Because you're the only one who thought this one thing.
I'm one of the first who saw while Marie would fucking back me down to a corner and say, we need therapy. No, we don't. We do not need therapy.
First of all, she's not saying that therapy is not needed. That's not what she's saying.
No, but we're embraced, and my whole problem is embracing therapy has done more harm than it did good. That's been my whole statement for damn near a decade. Right? And we are now finally seeing therapists want to fucking say the shit that I've been saying, but because I'm not a therapist, I would not know. I saw the trajectory. I study sociology and trends and see people being stupid. You guys don't watch this?
She's not saying embracing therapy is negative. She's saying that people are using it wrong.
No, she's saying that it has become too prevalent to now people think it's a resource, and in fact, it's actually.
She didn't say that.
That's not what she said. What she says.
She did not say that verbatim. No, she didn't.
People are basically
using therapy.
She said people are using all these buzzwords as excuses, and they're tying it to mental health and therapy.
She's also saying that people are utilizing therapy to be a shield, which means to justify their inabilities to go through life. That's what she's saying. But it's only overutilized because it's promoted and it's embraced. That's why I don't promote therapy, because therapy is so much more complex. The need for therapy is for so much more complex situations, not just to fucking sit down and talk to somebody.
Wait, you can't say that though, because
I can, because
to talk to somebody, you have so much anxiety, or it puts you in a place where you don't want to be, and you need to talk to people.
So, well, and I'll dive into that in 1 second. But going back to what I was just saying, the problem that ends up happening is people think that that is the solution to all. And because of that, and we are using the same analogy for Ozempic, and now people don't want to work out, or they want to work out, or even the BBL. People want to work out after the fact, right?
Do the legs.
So
don't forget the legs, ladies.
So what that is still showing is that people still do not have the endurance to do the work on themselves first. So when you want it, going back to what you're saying, when people have anxiety, the anxiety and talking to a therapist isn't curing it. If anything, it's helping you cope with something. And it's not helping you dissect it. You still have to go. Majority of therapy today, and I'm not saying back then, because I believe back then there was, and I think that back then it was more so tied to traumatic issues or traumatic situations, not issues. Today, it's almost like, you know what, I have anxiety when I get into large places. Okay, cool. So all we have to do is redirect you to you, so we can figure out where to start for you. These are all things you can do at home, by the way. These are all things that you can just sit at yourself, learn yourself. But instead, we've embraced it and publicized therapy, so that now everything is an outlet. We need an outlet to go in, which is sickening. That means we are literally becoming weaker as people on a day-to-day.
Some people don't know. Some people don't know how to do that kind of work with themselves.
But why not?
What do you mean, why not?
I'm saying, why not? Why?
They didn't know it was an option. They didn't know it was possible.
Yeah, they don't know to let me sit down and think about how this all started for me, or maybe it ties back to a past trauma that I've had. Like, they don't know to do that. Like, and that's why seeking professional help is a thing.
No, it's not that they don't know. Listen, guys, stop. No, that's not the case. Because guess what? We've all had somebody tell us the fucking answer that we chose not to listen to. Right? That's the problem. The problem is we hear the answer. We don't want to listen to the answer because of who it came from. That's the root cause. Now we want to go to a stranger who's going to tell us to do the same thing that person told us to do, but we want to listen to the stranger.
A qualified stranger.
They're qualified and they can't tell you what to do.
It doesn't matter if they're qualified or not. The answer was already given to you.
Yeah,
you ruled it out.
No, a good message could be
What are
lost
you
in a bad messenger. If you go to a qualified person who is supposed to know about this stuff, he or she can direct you on what the issue is. But if you listen to your Uncle Luke, and he tells you some shit, you're like, come on, Uncle Luke, what the hell you know?
But that's the point I'm making. We've embraced and empowered physical therapy. Physical therapy, fucking mental therapy or therapy in general, to a point where we disqualify the people who know us most or best because you didn't go to school. Nigga, I raised you. I didn't like.
Getting the
what are you talking about?
First of all, the answers that you're looking for doesn't always come from people that know you most. Maybe you need someone that doesn't know you at all, doesn't know the situation at all.
If people start, how about this? If you start paying attention to your life, if you're watching this right now, you start paying attention to your life and start drawing dots in your patterns and behaviors in your life. I guarantee you'll see that at some point in time, if you can remember, someone told you what to do at that point in time, but you decided not to listen, which is why it persisted and which is why it got worse. We all get the answers to the test at some point. We just shrug it off. I could pinpoint a lot of different times where I'm like, yo, damn, such and such told me I shouldn't have did that, and I did it. Now I got to figure out how to undo what I should have been not did. We got to remember that at some point in time, we were turned to ignore ourselves, ignore our intuition, ignore the things that we know are doing wrong. When we can sit here and be like, yo, I feel it in my soul. I shouldn't be doing this right now, but yet you still do it. Yet you still show up. Yet you still keep that person around you. You've been ignoring yourself this whole time. So using the mechanic analogy, your tires, your brake calipers were rubbing the rotors. You heard it. Not only did you hear it, people on the road was looking at you crazy because they heard it. But it took for you to go to a mechanic to start to do the work. Now, I'm not saying that therapy in full is bad. Because again, I think that for complex situations, I do agree. Sometimes you need help. If you have childhood trauma, that's a different situation. If you have a situation where you were a substance abuse, where you don't know where it's coming from, or where the root is, or let's just say some type of sexual trauma. These type of situations, obviously therapy is going to be super needed or beneficial. Now, let's just say you got fired from your job, because this is what the world has come to. Hypersensitive, lack of endurance, lack of strength, lack of the ability to go through adversity. You get fired from your job. You have a mental breakdown. Okay. Now you decide that you lash out on everybody for 6 months. You can't find another job. You become this crazy person that's just unapproachable and you can't speak to. So now you need to seek therapy. Right? The craziest thing is all you had to do is understand what comes with life at that point. That did not require a therapist. Right? Why am I so tied to one job knowing that there's 1,000 jobs here? Why did I shut down? Why did I not just go ahead and get another job? The honest truth is there's a lot of therapists that aren't good. All right. So we have to understand we're talking about qualified, terrible people. Right. Let me just make sure that we're understanding. We're talking about qualified, terrible people.
I was about to say, it's not just therapists.
But the problem with a therapist is there is more therapists than there are doctors, I feel like. I mean, I'm not too sure if that's a real stat. Right. But a therapist is a lot more affordable than a doctor. Okay. And so is the process. So you go to these therapists who are really qualified, but they're not good at analyzing and assessing situations. If a good therapist is expensive, then that means a lot of people aren't going to see good therapists because a lot of people can't even afford it. So now when we're talking about is who are they going to then? The bad, cheap therapists, the $40 a session. That's dangerous.
That's insurance.
Now, how about this? I also want to touch on the fact that people are addicted to therapy. So how do you go seek therapy? How do you go seek help and get addicted to the help and never figure it out? So we're not talking about all of the. We always want to highlight the great qualified $350 an hour a session therapists, and I commend them. But the problem is, it's become a fad, and once it becomes a fad, it's doing more harm than it is good. Because reality is, majority of people can't afford good therapy.
So, do you think that there are any therapists that aren't $350
That aren't
are,
good.
that aren't qualified enough,
I think they're like needles in haystacks. I think that
just
I
based off of
believe
the price?
yes, because once you start to there's very few people who do things and take on careers in this world or in this life for the passion and will push aside their value and their cost of living to help others. So good therapists in America that know that they are good or great therapists are going to charge what good, great therapists charge.
Okay, but what if this therapist has been doing it for, say, 10 years and decide to lower his or her price and get on an app and treat people at an affordable rate? I
Yeah,
know.
but
I just
we're
want
not
to.
talking
I just
about
want to ask.
we're not talking about the
What?
fact that it has happened. We're not even talking the fact that it happens. It's rare. Let's ask.
But
How about ask
how
me?
can
What
you
do you
say
think
it's
the
rare,
ratio
though?
is?
How do you?
Have you ever seek therapy ever in your life? I want to know if you
I
know
talked
the
to a
process.
therapist for the last 7 years that sits right here alongside me.
No, I'm
every
asking
week.
because I want to know if you know the process, if you know what it's like to
He-
find a therapist.
He doesn't.
So
He
I
voiced
do
it
know.
differently, though.
I do know many people. Have I sought out therapy personally?
Yes,
No, I have never sought out therapy.
What?
But
Scared the shit out of me just now.
have I been around people that have sought out therapy, close friends and family members, and actually did get a therapist? I know somebody right now who's addicted to their therapist, right? And they speak to them and it's like at one point in time, I remember them specifically telling me that they told them that their therapist said you didn't need to come here for that.
Yeah. Well, also, they could have just been talking in therapy, and they could just been comfortable with their therapist. Because sometimes when you're with your therapist, you be talking about stuff, and it just goes, it just flows. And for your example, that all these other people, don't you think it would be a different effect if you actually tried yourself? And I'm not saying you need to go. I'm not saying something's wrong with you. I'm saying
You can't talk from other people's experience.
that part.
Well, what I can say is that you don't always need to experience something to understand something. In fact, the most wisest people do not experience everything to understand something. They actually learn from other people's experiences because you don't have the time or the bandwidth to experience everything to learn what you need to learn. That's what I'm saying. So if I just look at humanity as a whole, and this is what people should be doing, and then you'll start to understand life a little bit better. If you look at humanity as a whole for a long period of time and take out the foolish variables that they put to kind of stray you away from seeing the truth, then we'll start to understand things a lot clearer. For example, if mental health, let me ask the question here. Do you believe that mental health is more of a real case situation now than ever before? And I'm not saying by numbers. I'm saying, do you believe that it is more so prevalent on individuals here now than ever before?
Here as in
America. Yeah, because I can't speak for the world.
The answer is no.
So you think that
I think that before we were talking about therapy and mental health and this whole thing, now that we have Instagram and we have social networks to constantly pump it in our brains, I think people were killing people. I think people were harming people. I think people were molesting people. I think people were going to jail. I think people were poor. I think people were doing terrible things to people, and they had no outlet to get that fixed.
Okay.
That is what I think.
that's not my question. Let me ask it again. If I take 100 million people today that are adults and 100 million people 100 years ago, and well, no, that was the Great Depression. 1902, right? 100 million people, both 100 million people in both different time frames.
Mhm.
Do you think that mental health was more over on the 1902 or the 2025?
Well, that kind of did answer your question because mental health was the same. The same issues were there.
Yeah.
But in older times, they didn't have therapists. They didn't.
Jesus Christ. Okay. My question is very simple. Jesus. Okay, so wait. So, because we're not getting answers here, guys, and I want to make sure that we understand.
What answer didn't you get?
The answer is who
You need
what-
us
what-
to pick.
was
You
there?
don't want us
Were
to
they
tell
the
you what to say.
same?
Said
Were they
no.
the same or were they not? So they're no. So which one had more?
I would think back then had more.
Had more mental health issues. More people had mental health issues back then
I believe so.
than today.
I think so.
And you?
I said same.
They're the same.
Yeah.
Like the same amount
Yes.
from back
That
then
is
and
what
today. Okay, cool.
Answering the question.
I'm just making sure. Right? I'm going to say, I believe right now, there are far more mental health issues than ever before.
Which you are allowed to believe, but back in the day, they were making guillotines and cutting people's heads off.
Not in 1902, bro.
Period. How about just period?
I didn't say in 1805.
Okay.
Like I gave you
They
a
didn't even
time
know what
frame.
anxiety was.
I gave you a fucking time frame. Like
How about this?
the laws weren't even the same back then.
All right, 1902, they were doing firing squad. How about that?
I don't know what firing squad
They
is.
were killing people, lining them up, and just shooting them.
You don't think they do that now? What are you talking about?
Do you know where you have to be mentally to be able to do that? They were still.
We are having a crisis where kids are shooting up schools.
They didn't have guns in 1902.
Yes. Okay, I'm leaving. I am fucking leaving. Jesus Christ. We didn't have guns, but people were lining them up and killing them.
I was about to say.
like, what the?
I'm saying kids.
What I'm saying is, if now,
Okay.
if you even think about it, even kids are having mental health issues more so than the kids before. So it's starting off younger.
Say that though.
Well, you're just saying that kids didn't have access to guns. Kids don't have access to guns today, and the laws are more strict than ever. Kids are finding a way to get access to guns.
So kids have access to guns.
And they're
What? You just said kids don't have access to guns today, but they're
No.
finding ways to get access to guns.
exactly the same things were this. Excuse me. The same variables were the same as it now as it was 1902 for the children, and we're seeing children find ways to have access to guns. Those kids had more respect. Those kids feared consequence. Nowadays, our kids don't fucking fear consequence. We have people who do not fear, respect, or care about authority from all age groups. All age groups. And you mean to tell me that mental health is now not as bad as before? We are at a fucking crazy time right now.
But what you're describing right now is just a difference of time, not a difference of mental health.
And you're speaking it as if it's fact and you have data behind this.
I mean,
Because just because the kids back then were more respectful and afraid of consequence, that doesn't mean that they weren't struggling with
It doesn't
mental
mean that
health.
somebody couldn't come in their house and just bash them over the head with a hammer.
okay, but it's happening today still. And that's what I'm trying to say. So everything that you're saying that happened then is happening right now, and it's probably happening more so now than it did 120 years ago.
According to your narrative. So you can create a narrative to make
Okay,
yourself-
so if we pull up the data right now, and then what's your next thing to say?
You
That
know
the
what?
data proves that there are more crimes, there are more violent crimes today than there was 120 years ago. What would be your next take on that?
My next take would be let's bring up the data and then you will get my next take.
Okay, let's bring it up. Because the thing is, just pull
Like,
up.
Marie's
Just
like,
pull up
what are we
just pull up
searching?
violent- Just pull up. It's very simple.
Data.
Violent crimes in
Where's the stats?
2020.
I'll be Aaron, I'll be
Violent
Aaron.
crimes in
Pull up the
1902.
stats.
Variable is this: that people have the capacity to be worse, and they have the reasoning to justify the fact that they can be worse. And that's why I'm saying we are now.
You could hide bodies in the woods.
You want to
And there would be no cameras.
Segue?
There was no phones. There
Are
was
you gonna put
nobody
it up?
taking TikToks.
So you're saying they were getting away with it?
Yes.
All right.
That's why I said bring the data. You won't
Maybe-
get the data because
well, that wouldn't be
shouldn't be
that wouldn't be on the data then, actually.
what?
But the data was still proving my favor. Right now is definitely 100% worse than it was 120 years ago. Post the Great Depression, because I don't even want to consider that. It was in the 20s, I believe, and 30s.
All right. Early 1900s to mid 20th century, So this says 1900s to 1960s, violent crime was relatively low, but began increasing in the 1960s due to social unrest, urbanization, and charges in policing. 70s to the 90s, violent crime peaked in the late 80s and early 90s, largely due to the crack cocaine epidemic, gang violence, and economic struggles. The 90s to 2014, crime rate significantly declined due to tougher policing strategies, economic improvements, and mass incarceration. Is this in your favor right now?
Yes,
It
it's
sounds. Before I read the rest, it sounds like people have been crazy since people have been crazy. Since
No, it doesn't. Keep going because you clearly don't understand.
2015 to 2020, some increases in violent crime were observed, particularly homicides due to factors like social unrest and economic disparities. 2020 to 2025, there was a notable spike in violent crime during the COVID-19 pandemic, but in many places, it has since started declining again.
I would definitely take the COVID part. Obviously, we can understand the stress of the world at that point in time. But if you look at it, right? So before 1950, people were relatively fine. And
Can you leave that up?
yes, please. Right? Before 1950, and I can't even read it, but before 1950, based on what I heard, people were relatively fine, right? When we get to the point of the 50s to the 60s, or is it 60s to the 80s? 60 to 90s, 60 to 80s. Now look, check this out. Those people who were in the 70s and the 80s are adults here today. Right? So the people who were here with this, what is it, a spike in a crazy, what was it? So it's the 70s to the 90s. These are all adults right now between their 30 to 45, nearly 58 years old, right? Some of these people are still fucked up. Those are the people that you're probably seeing in therapy, right? I'm 32. I was born in 93. So like you'd be 35 years old, 38 years old. These are products of that, right? These people that are seeking the therapy that we're talking about are not the same people. And then even in 2014, they said they had to clamp down with what? Policing and mass incarceration. That's the only reason why they saw a decline in crimes. So when we're talking about mental health right now, we are at a way, way more sensitive time than ever before. That was the point that I'm trying to prove, by the way. No, I
thought the original point was you had asked
What time frame?
the time frame had them. If people back in the day were worse than they are in today,
yes.
I thought that was the question.
Yeah, from 1902 to 2025, and this answers my question.
But they had
They gradually got worse.
Epidemic, Great Depression back then.
They had a Great Depression in the 20s.
I mean,
listen, but wait. Technology also increased throughout this time. So as technology increased,
so did the crazy.
No, we're just being able to see it.
No, we're not. She just said a direct correlation is we got to a point where we diagnose every single thing. Everything has a diagnosis.
I definitely don't think that was her point. Of course, we know that there are unqualified therapists who misdiagnose and probably give those keywords to people who really don't need it. The point of her video was to say when you get those keywords and you get the therapy in the right way, you don't use it properly. You don't use it to go through life and thrive. You don't try to work through your problems and get through your issues. You're using it to be avoidant. You're using it to be stagnant. Like that's the point. We're not saying that therapy is bad. It's being misused.
He's saying it's bad.
I'm saying that again.
Well, that's not the message.
Yes.
I'm saying again that this is the outcome. I'm not saying the act of therapy is bad. I'm saying the accessibility and the promotion of therapy has caused this, which is what she is saying. That's what I've been saying this entire time.
Yeah, we know. I mean, it's in there. We got it.
Because that's most likely the situation. Because the thing is, it's still unproven. I'm going to send you a video, and it's just great because I love the fact that I'm right. The problem is I'm always ahead. I send you a video, Marie, and it's great, reputable schools that we love dearly and hold to a high value, studying the fact that this therapy in human psychology has taken a significant decline and they are in conjunction with each other. And the reason is because, one, we are labeling things because we can't understand things, which is a problem. You can't just come up with a diagnosis because you don't understand why somebody thinks this way. Now, if there are literal, real, like insanity, real, then you need, yes. Well, you need a therapist that can work it out before you get to a psychiatrist, right? But we are taking small things that are everyday life and we are attaching titles to them that have extreme definitions. And then these people are self-diagnosing themselves. They're diagnosing themselves and going to seek therapy, right? And then what's happening is you have a mix between people who don't even need to be there, but feel the need to be there. Then you have people who, I would honestly say, doing this for the money and will keep you there to keep their lights on. And then you have people that are unqualified. And then the ones that we can probably agree on that are good are going to cost. And people are not actually getting real help.
You can leave therapy anytime you want. A therapist doesn't have to keep you there for the money.
But like, for example, if you don't know where to turn and you turn to me,
I'm taking your money.
like, come on now,
and also those small everyday things.
I'm gonna tell you what you need to know.
They give you a big word for it with a very big meaning. That is what you do. Because being a narcissist, yeah, it is those small everyday things. You don't have to do anything super huge to be a narcissist.
Yes, you do.
No.
Jesus, Marie, please. And this is the problem. Unqualified people giving significance to definitions.
I personally don't go around calling people narcissists, but I do know that being a narcissist really does start with small behaviors.
Do you know how extreme it has to be?
Let her tell it. What's your definition of narcissist, or from what you know of?
I mean, don't ask me that because I don't have my own definition, but I understand what it means to be a. Don't do that because we were on the same side.
We're still on the same side.
We say it because a dumbass therapist has gained a mic and went on social media and said, if you're seeing small signs of this, that makes him a narcissist, not understanding how extreme it has to be.
I don't think a therapist did that. I think somebody, a patient that came from a therapist,
said that he's a narcissist, or she
just created that definition.
We have fake doctors all over the internet.
That this person exudes narcissistic.
We have fake doctors everywhere.
Behaviors, like they'll say that they don't have to have the full disorder, but if you're showing,
you don't have to have the full disorder, but
if you show signs of being a narcissist, like they'll say, no, they do say this person has narcissistic behaviors.
I'm trying to be on your side. It's really not. If you don't let it be, it's not. Because if no offense, but if a girl calls me a narcissist and I say, what's your definition of a narcissist? Like, I can't tell you that right now.
Okay. Offense.
I don't think therapists should be paid.
What?
I don't think therapists should be paid. Because if the therapist isn't paid, then for you to be there, you have to really want to help somebody.
Oh my God. You want to help yourself.
What?
Oh my God.
Volunteering? What? Rico, please. Everybody needs a little change.
Because all these people come out here and they say stupid shit and then they create worse people. We had somebody in here. Bro, I wish you were here for this. We had somebody in here who said he lost his marriage. His wife started therapy and then said, and he said before that, we always came together for every decision. Everything was agreed upon before done. We never did anything separate. He said she went to therapy. Her therapist basically told her she needed to start choosing herself more. And she started doing things without me. And before you know it, because the therapist told her she needs to focus on her, that was the demise of our marriage. Okay? Yeah, me too. No, it wasn't unqualified.
Wait.
This was qualified.
How do you know it wasn't qualified?
She went to an actual therapist.
Unqualified.
Wait.
No. Unqualified means that they're not licensed.
No, that means unlicensed. Means they're not licensed.
Everybody can get a license.
An unqualified. Do we know what the definition of unqualified means?
So
You mean a not good therapist? You mean yes,
Okay.
yeah. She was qualified, or he, whatever it was.
She went to community college.
Maybe, but whatever she was, destroyed a fucking marriage, right? So the thing is, we have to live in things in real time, unfortunately, for people to understand trends and even diet trends. People went from saying, fuck, I'm never eating meat, I'm gonna be vegetarian, now I'm about to be vegan. Now you're seeing all these different studies coming out on why you should. Yeah, now you're about to be, now it's carnivore diets. People gotta, now we have narcissists, then it went to misogynists, then it went to narcissists, actually. And it's going to be a trend. So that's why I'm like, therapy is good for those who really genuinely need it. But again, we can't just have therapy for people who are being soft, people who don't want to navigate through life, people who don't want to deal with adversity, people who have chosen to just say, you know what, I don't want to do the work myself, right? I don't feel like therapy should be offered for them. They need a different type of something that's not actual therapy, because now that we are confusing the two. So that's my take.
What is the two?
Like people who need it and people who don't.
But who's this? You can't say
We.
who needs it.
Yes, we can.
You can't say who needs it.
Yes, I can.
You're your scale.
Go to therapy, y'all. Just don't
Yes.
misuse it.
Go to therapy.
Because we're not ending on
Go
that.
to therapy if you don't
Yes,
really need it.
That's right.
Jesus Christ.
Until you sign that waiver.
Was she an investor or just a lender? Find out on the next episode of Ask Amanda. No, we're finding out today. Okay. In 2015, I invested $70,000 into my ex's real estate deal. At least I thought I was investing. We've since broken up and he returned my original $70,000, but now I just found out he sold the property for 10 times what he paid. I feel like I was more than just a lender. I believed I was an investor and should be entitled to a share of the profits. He says I got my money back and that was the agreement. Am I wrong for expecting more, or did he take advantage of me? What should I do?
She said, I'm sorry, that's her ex?
Yes.
So, okay, so her ex gave her money back and gave her some D. She
What?
can go on her way.
The D was not a part of the
D
deal.
was part of the deal. You got D and you got your money back.
They had an official
return is
agreement.
crazy.
They had an official agreement
Oh.
for the real estate deal.
How'd
It
that
was
does
it?
not have anything to do with it.
What was the official agreement?
Well, that she was going to invest.
And then what? Get her
Get
money
her money back. She got her fucking money back, right?
And some D.
You know, yo, listen, she's probably, I've seen her before on a couple comment sections talking about how, well, you just wanted to, if you loved her, you shouldn't be wanting more. You know, that whole situation that they be saying. She should just go back and look at that.
I definitely, okay, seeing this is black and white situation, to be honest. If that was the agreement was met, she got her money back. But this is giving like a little acrimony situation. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Acrimony. Go with it.
Tyler Perry.
No, I don't know, but
Tyler Perry, acrimony, Taraji. Right. She was like funding his whole life. And then he made it big.
bye.
But in the process, he lost her house. But when he made it big, he bought the house back, gave her the keys, and then gave her money. But he made so much more than that. And she was just like, well, nigga, like I was with you doing this, that, and the third, and you promised me this, that, and the third. Like she felt entitled to it. And I know that this is a big argument with this movie on the internet that people have. Who was right? Was he right? Was Taraji right?
He was right. You know why? Because he played the game that bitches play.
Oh.
How about that?
What do bitches play?
They come into a man's life who got it. The man is supposed to build her up, pay for her school, let her become a doctor, get her new doctor circle friends, and then tell the man that he no longer qualifies, and that he needs.
Still salty about that? Huh?
No, it's not salty. I'm just saying we're having real life examples, right? So the man is always the one, or I won't say always. The man has usually been the one to build the girl up. After he built her up, She goes on to live this luxurious lifestyle if he built her up, and he's not entitled to any of the return on his investment. He was supposed to do that out of love. That's what a man's supposed to do. So when a woman now, just like the movie and just like this Ask Amanda, builds or she finances or she financially helps a man build himself up and he gives her return on investment, we're talking about how should you feel?
And they broke up, right?
Yeah, that's her ex.
So is she saying she would have felt different if they stayed together?
No, she would have asked for she would have asked for more. That's why he broke up with her. He knew what he was doing.
I don't think that the relationship have anything to do with it. This is like a business deal for her.
No,
so she's saying she felt more like an investor and not just a lender. So she felt like the situation shouldn't have been like, I got back my initial money that I gave you. I should have got that plus
I get
whatever.
I get how she feels.
She did not get she didn't put that into terms. What?
What was a part of the contract?
Well, she doesn't really say specifically like verbatim what they agreed on, but she just said that he got me my money back and that was their agreement.
I wish I heard that's not the right thing. That's not the right thing.
Or maybe maybe it's the fact that she's an ex, so he feels like he doesn't like owe her anything because he doesn't want the lines to get blurred.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm just looking at the context of the situation because she's leaving out a lot of fucking details. For you to give anybody $70,000, that means that person usually was doing something to make you believe into them. Right? So he was already showing you in different areas, in different ways that he was already doing things that were either profitable or close to being profitable or was about to hit that big break. Whatever it was, you don't just dump 70,000 into an idea that somebody has not even proven is capable of. So now he was able to do that. He was probably already doing it, and I'm adding that, right? He was probably already doing things that led her to be confident to make this investment. And now that they've broken up, she wants more only because she already knew what he was capable of. That's all.
This is an ex situation.
And she didn't say why they broke up, which is why I don't trust her.
No, it doesn't matter.
She cheated because she's a hoe.
Shut up.
That's why she only got 70.
I feel like this is an ex situation specifically, but I feel like anybody would have felt away. It could have been his man's. Yeah, his man's would have felt away too. Like, yo, here's your 70 grand back. And he sees how much money you profited off of what you lent him. Like, he's going to be like, yo, I think that anybody would be asking this question, not just because she's an ex.
No. If you are my mans and I give you 70 bands and you tell me you're going to give me 70 back and whatever you make it, and whatever you make, well, I'm not saying whatever, because if you make 7 million, that's different. But if you make 500,000, I'm like, all right, cool. And he gives me back my 70, so he really made 430. I'm okay with that. I'm not asking him for more. I would like to get at least a dinner, right? But
you want a date?
Nah, like a dinner, a celebratory dinner. You know what I'm saying? We go to the strippy afterwards. That, like, I want to celebrate with you. I would like that, but I'm not requiring that. I'm not going to feel some type of way because I know once we had that agreed contract, I wasn't expecting anything more than that. Now, for her, she feels entitled because she feels like they're not together, so she wants more because she's feeling like he's leaving with more than what he came with.
That can't happen.
And that's why she's like
I don't think
tripping
that
in her.
she's feeling any differently than your man's would have felt. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I just said we are cool. I said we good. Would she want a date? Like
She want
a strip club?
Back.
No, but like
he don't want to
think
see
that
her.
she feels entitled, but she definitely still feels like, okay, yeah, like maybe he could have, took me out, a little thank you or some. I know that they're exes, but just how you explained like a friend situation, I feel like she feels that same way. I don't think that she's more entitled because she's his ex.
The difference is me and him are still friends. There's been a separation here, and she's not telling us why they separated. All right. If I love you and you love me and you invest in me, I'm not just leaving you that easily. You got to do some shit.
Yeah, but that was also a personal lend though. Like he could have
No, it
got that
wasn't. A personal lend wouldn't have had a contract.
No,
It wasn't personal.
and I mean that he could have gotten someone else somewhere more official to get $70,000
But
from.
he was
You
also
asked your girlfriend.
he was in a relationship with her, and maybe they expected to be together.
Exactly, and that's
So what did
blurring
she
lines
do?
in itself. I'm
She-
actually not asking no partner of mine to lend me money to start something because
Why not?
what if we mash up? Then what?
Well, then you should be smart enough to have the contract before you.
I'm
mash
smart
up.
enough to go outside my relationship and get that money
From who?
from somewhere more official, a official lender.
So you
Like a
would go
bank?
outside your relationship to get money that your man already had?
To pay an interest that you don't got to pay.
So that there's no problems. I wouldn't have to be asking no questions like this if I went outside my relationship.
Okay,
Like
it's just a question. I'm
You
sorry.
rather lose money,
how?
or you're saying you would go ask? Then. So again, you would rather lose money. No, you would rather lose money. No. You would rather lose money. You would rather pay more. You didn't 10x, brother. It's 9 now. That interest. It's 9 now. You rather lose money because you don't want to blur a line that is not blurred. The only one that blurred it was him, because when you guys said, "Hey, look, here's a contract," it said that, right? It was a contract.
Well, she said agreement, so I don't know if there was an official contract.
Well, there was an agreement, which at one point was as good as a contract, right? Handshake. We have an agreement. You're gonna give me 70. All right, cool. I'm gonna give you 70 back within this time frame, and I hit you off that 70 back. It does not matter what I made.
You should have put that
I
originally.
fulfilled it.
If you make more than a certain amount, then I would like 75 back or whatever your vig is.
She did
they're
something.
not
She didn't even say why they broke up.
And that's the problem. Why?
Because
Why
look,
are you in love and not having these conversations?
If he
about
did so-
investing
look,
with your
look,
partner.
I
but
got-
then you right into ask Amanda after this.
bro, look, Rome, am I bugging? Am I bugging to believe this? And you can feel free to say yes or no, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If if a woman lent a man money, right, into whatever his business endeavor was,
Okay.
and they broke up,
Mm.
and he made 10 times that amount, plus the reason why they broke up was because he did something foul to her, whether he mistreated her, was disrespecting her, he cheated on her, or even put his hands on her. One of those 4 reasons that are typically the reasons for them to break up.
Mm.
And she wrote in, would she not have included, and he's my ex after he X, Y, and Z, or after he did X, Y, and Z? Do you think that she would typically include the reason why they broke up if it was his fault?
I mean,
I think that
Think
the
about a
reason-
woman. Think about a
Okay, but
woman,
you're
bro.
but you're also assuming that she did something.
I wasn't asking you.
I don't give a fuck.
I wasn't asking you.
You're also
I was
assuming
asking-
in this
wait,
situation
I want-
that
I
she
just
did
want-
something.
I just want Rome to answer. Was she? We say this, bro. This is our thing. What do you think that she would have included the reason or why they broke up after she felt like she was used for her 70K?
I think she would be more likely to include that.
You're
than
so
not.
fucking politically correct. It
See
makes me
me?
sick, but I understand.
And that's why the lines are blurred, because when you're in a relationship, you think that she's going through all the technicalities. Like, babe, if you make this amount of money, I would like blah blah. She's just like, babe, all right, do what you got. I got you.
That's your
all,
fault.
That's all she gonna
that's-
say.
Why is this his fault?
You guys are. All right.
That's why never have niggas.
Every day.
Never have niggas.
Yo, if my girl said, "Yo, Rico, here's 100,000. I'm putting you on a contract right now,
I love you.
and yeah, and I need X by this, and it might just be the 100,000."
100.
And she says, "Sign." I'm like, okay, with my blood or in my pen? I'm not gonna have any like, oh, you're a difficult woman. No, you believe in me, babe.
Who do you think you are?
You must be dumber than I thought. No, I'm kidding.
Don't do shit for men. Don't do shit for men. Don't do shit. Don't do
I'm
nothing.
just joshing.
Don't do nothing
I don't
for
care. I don't care.
Word.
That's a double
Let's get
negative.
this Canada video going.
That means do it.
Is that Roy? Roy?
Well, I can't see.
Yeah, he's Roy.
Chris
Roy.
is saying, wait.
If we're still together, she might get a vacation.
Might. That's real.
He hates you.
But I'm not leaving. Yo, if you gave me 70, I know there's more where that came from.
Right.
Like, I'm not just walking out. Like,
Right.
y'all gotta understand what's happening. Like,
I might give her 80. I might give her 80.
and ask for the 70 again.
Feel it.
Like, oops.
This one didn't work out.
What? In marriage, that's different. I'll take that serious.
What's different about
In
that?
marriage, I'm not asking you. I'm not signing a contract.
Going in our
What are we talking-
I wasn't even going
What are we
there.
talking about? Like,
I wasn't even going there.
What am I gonna ask you for this money?
You guys are disgusting.
Like, I just want to point out. I know we're supposed to have fun, but I just want to point out this goes directly to what I was trying to say about how we think that we're the only ones that hate our community, when realistically the Asians is hating the Asians, the Middle Easterns are hating the Middle Easterns, and the Europeans are hating the Europeans. I've just been saying this, and I'm gonna keep saying it till we understand it. And we're not all and even Africa, parts of Africa hate Africa. Now they also, you talked about Jollof, but they don't know, or he didn't mention that Ghanaians call Nigerians 3 numbers. Do y'all know that?
3 numbers.
See, I'm really in the culture for real. You know what I'm saying? It's called 419. Shout out to my Nigerian friends. We're not saying that you're all 419. 419 is basically like 911 when you see them. Like, because they're scam artists, they're not good people. Like, they typically are committing crime. So when a Ghanaian sees a Nigerian, he says, oh no, that's a 419. I don't trust 419s.
That's how they say it.
With the
No,
accent.
no.
They're voted the most indoctrinated by education, which is indoctrination. But so I say all that just to say again, to have an expectation to think that we are not going to criticize our own kind for not behaving in the manner in which we would like to be represented is unrealistic. That's all.
Thank you for sucking the fun out of the video.
You can pretend that you're Canadian. It's fine. Like,
You know what? It's a good idea.
Canada's dope. So how are we supposed to have fun with this? What are we supposed?
I love jollof rice. I never know where I'm eating it from though.
No, I know a Nigerian jollof is not it. It's not it. Ghanaian jollof is where it's at. You heard it here from the Rilakata. I need that clip, by the way. I'm about to go viral with my Ghanaian. Actually, I just got an order from Nigeria. He purchased 3 sunglasses, so shout out to Nigeria.
You
Shout
paid
out
already?
Africa.
Yeah, and I gotta wait. Look, listen, Shopify is so dope. I got the order, and that shit said high risk. I said, oh, you gonna wait till this shit clear? Like, I ain't sending nothing till this shit clear. Like,
Medea, a drag queen? No, the character Medea, portrayed by Tyler Perry, is not a drag queen.
Were you on
what is
Google?
he?
Yes.
A drag
Ask
grandma.
Jamugle.
What? Ask who?
Ask Jamugle. Jamugle's gonna be like, yes, that's drag. That's like Black Google in my head.
You know, Rome, you actually, I could see you in a Medea film, or not Medea, Tyler Perry film. No, he'd be the guy that got cheated on and either got his heart broke, or he'll be the guy who wants to treat the girl right, who got you. His shit is so fucking redundant. He does need help. I'd look at Tyler Perry films as a higher quality Tubi movie. Like, it's the same shit as Tubi's, but it's just better
Right.
shot.
But it's like Tyler Perry has been in the game for so long now. I expect better quality from his shit.
You
but
expect
that's-
better storylines.
Yeah, not quality.
Better.
niggas,
No.
stories.
Both.
Really? You don't think it's
Both.
shot well?
No.
Sometimes,
No,
like,
sometimes because honestly, the Medea movies are really good. Like those are
Mhm.
good quality movies. The shit that he comes out with, even sometimes Netflix, like it's shitty. I can't remember the name of it, but he came out with this movie where some young man took advantage of an old lady and was taking all her money, and Bill Cosby wife helped scam her. Y'all know from the Cosby Show, the wife, and I forgot her name right now. Yes, Felicia Rashad was helping scam that lady. I don't remember what that Netflix movie was called, but there was so much bad things about that movie. Like the storyline isn't even what bothered me. It was like the little things that it was just like Tyler Perry, for real. We couldn't get quality
Camera be
extras.
shaking.
Yeah, but that's
Like-
I think that's his niche though. It's you're not going to get
Anymore.
box office top quality. And
But I feel like
know
that
going
just
in.
started coming up in the recent years because back then when we were watching Medea, nobody had
I don't
complaints about
think
Tyler
that-
Perry.
I don't think that those were full Tyler Perry productions. That's why. So they had other entities in the industry that was contributing to Medea, which is why they were shot a certain way and why they were produced a certain way and to the standard that it was or that it is. Now you have Tyler Perry who has successfully has his own studio. What's it? A soundstage? But and everything's in-house, but you're actually seeing how it is when you have everything in-house.
Yeah.
Right? I think
Okay.
that's what we're seeing now
That
is
does
the
make
whole
sense.
in-house production.
But I think
his-
that's a lane though. I think he's
Yeah, it's like Tubi. There's people making millions of dollars on Tubi.
But
I
I,
didn't know that.
wouldn't go as far as Tubi, but I feel that you know what you're getting when you watch a Tyler Perry film.
No,
even though I
you
haven't.
don't. I
No, I'm
give it
saying
a
you may
chance.
not know the storyline, but you know that you're going to see a terrible wig.
That part is going to
You know
be some
that.
kind of crazy twist.
You know that part.
You want to see a dark skinned nigga with a beard and a light skinned nigga with some colored eyes. Like
we're gonna see black struggle. We're gonna see religion, God. We always talking about God in Tyler Perry. And in a huge twist, honestly, the Duplicity movie that I watched just the other day, I was like, this is not as simple as it's making it. I was like, it's Tyler Perry. I know it's not who we think it is. There's gonna be some huge twist.
it's whack as fuck. And I think he needs to. I mean, yeah, I see that maybe he needs to make the money back that he spent, which is why he's dropping these films or projects in the amount or the frequency that he is. But I hope that at some point he gets back to bigger production and higher quality production and better real story wrote films.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
his
we know
audience-
he's capable of it, so it's like hopefully we get there. One thing I really do have a problem with is the acting. He does Beauty in Black, right?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh my, and it's like the storyline I'm not mad at. It's the acting.
But isn't that for every film?
You think he's
from
on
what I
set?
hear? Like I haven't, like I said before, I haven't seen a Tyler Perry
I don't
film.
have a problem with all Tyler Perry acting. Beauty in Black was really horrible.
Was Mia Culpa Tyler
It
Perry or
was
no?
terrible.
Yes.
Mia Culpa was?
Yeah.
Say I enjoyed Mia
Wait,
Culpa.
was that with Kelly Rowland?
Yes, I enjoyed Mia
I
Culpa.
enjoyed that too.
Yeah.
People
but
actually said that sucked, but I felt like that was one of the good ones.
I felt that
Better ones.
That was one of the better
it
ones.
wasn't
Okay.
terribly written. It wasn't terribly shot. It wasn't that bad.
So I didn't
So
think
maybe
so.
I have seen a Tyler Perry film. Great job with Mia Culpa. But
Also,
I did like
he
no,
does
was it Nia
the-
Long?
no.
Oh, okay.
Mia Culpa, that was Kelly
I
Rowland
saw
with that one.
Obsession. That's Tyler Perry?
But he also does
Oh.
the BET show Sisters. He probably has other stuff on BET as well. But I attempted to watch Sisters because everybody keeps saying it's really good. And you know what? I won't lie. I believe you guys. I just couldn't get through the acting in the very first episode.
Do you laugh or are you upset? That's what I don't understand when you say you can't get through
Irritated.
it. Are you?
I
are
am
you mad
irritated
about your
because
time being spent. Or are you mad at?
absolutely.
Okay.
Because I can't get through it. I don't want to watch it. Even if I'm interested in knowing what did that man do? Why is she mad? What's gonna happen next? I can't get to feeling those emotions that someone would be feeling watching this because I'm just like, why would she say it like that? Why would she run out of the room like that? That was so fake. I just can't get past it. So I'm
But
like, nah, this show is not for me. I
but
can't.
are you
I can't do it.
watching? Are you watching his productions, hoping that the next one will be better than the last, or you think that it advances some way, or are you watching looking for that so you can turn it off?
No, I'm not looking for that to turn it off. I think that it gets better with time. Honestly, I think he definitely sees the criticism online
No,
for
it's
sure.
I'm like obviously, but I'm saying like how you put on me personally. I put on a stupid movie just for background if I don't feel like listening to music while I write something or do whatever, right? But I'll know, like I'll glance back at it and be like, this is terrible, and I just won't invest my time in it. But I just need like that background.
Oh, I do that too, but not with a terrible movie, a movie that I actually enjoy. But because I saw it already, probably 10 times already, I don't need to pay attention to it. I'm not
Mhm.
going to put on a terrible movie.
Well, to be honest, if you really know the actual production budgets, they're never that much. It's all it's all inflated, and typically what happens is directors, producers, executive producers, they pocket a majority of that. Of course, I mean, to be honest, a real Hollywood production post production budget is
20 million,
about,
right?
well, it's about $75,000 per episode,
What are you
right?
talking about for like a series? Or are you talking about for an actual movie?
No, I'm talking about for a series.
Okay.
The post production is about, and it could range, right? But let's just say $60,000 to $70,000 is per episode. So like if you think about it, you have 10 episodes, that's only 600,000. You're only going to pay people out probably $500,000, right? No, in all movies. Well, I'm not in films. I'm sorry, in television shows. A lot of times you see these television shows do not have premier actors and actresses because their costs are way too high, right? So what happens is you give somebody $50,000 or $100,000, they shoot for 3 or 4 weeks, right? They'll say okay, and then they go on with their life. And there's only one person. The rest of the people, I think the SAG rate is what, $500. That's a day rate.
Hmm.
So some people that we know, that we seen since 1990s, are still getting the SAG rate, $500-$600 a day. So if you really think about it, and extras are getting free or $50 to $100. So when you add it all up, you probably spend another $500,000 on cast. The post production is another $500,000 roughly, and pre production or the production you could say is another 200,000, maybe $300,000. So you got approved for a $3 million budget, but you only spent 1.5 million. Where do you think the other 1.5 million went? Miscellaneous expenses, right? So a lot of times these people aren't getting these big lump sums of checks or big lump sums of money, and the executive producers are pocketing it, which is fine, especially when 50 Cent got $100 million. We got like $100 million, sir. Now imagine getting 250 million, and you know it's not going to cost you more than $1.5 million for each total show. Mind you, technically speaking, the payouts, if you are actually in the film industry and you actually put together a show, you get paid about 200 to 500, even upwards to $1 million per episode. So if I had a film and let's say I got a budget, my budget was $3 million, and I spent 1.5 million, and then I sold it to Netflix and had 10 episodes, and I got 200,000, I got an extra $2 million, right? So now you got what? $5 million, $4 million, and you only spent 1 million. That's why the biggest play and the most successful people in the film industry are the directors, the executive producers, the people who are behind the cameras, and they have the longest career span, because they're making the most money.
Absolutely, and do it yourself, basically.
Yeah, but the problem is eventually and this is why I don't know the numbers, so I'm not sure, but I don't believe it's a money play for Tyler Perry, because unless he got, which they do also do this too, like Netflix and Amazon, they'll give you like a record label type of deal where they'll say, hey, we're giving you a 50 television episode, 50 episode, budget. So now he has to fulfill 50 episodes. It could be in 5 shows, it could be in 20 shows, but he has to fulfill those episodes. If that's the case, then that's different. But if it's not, and it's literally like per show, per project that he's dropping, they are also basing this upon numbers. And if your numbers are dwindling, so will your budget. So you're not going to keep on turning over, losing fans, being criticized on Instagram or social media, and think that it's not going to hurt your pockets. It's actually regressive rather than progressive. Well, he's actually probably making more money renting his studio out to people like Lionsgate and Warner Brother and things like that, where there's tax incentives and play for places like Georgia, which is the second or third highest tax incentive for all film production. So you're going to get way more money, because if they have a budget of, $200,000 a day for his soundstage, right, his studio, he's going to be able to get that. And let's say they budget 10 days times $250,000. He's made that for 10 days. You know what I'm saying? That number. And it's way more than he's probably making on them fucking terrible films. The biggest play is, that's why 50 Cent got into it. And that's why Rick Ross touched based on it. A lot of people are doing, including big time people like Sony, is now they're integrating AI, and they're going to be having AI. They've already did it, not going to be, but they're doing it actively. Adidas just did a commercial, 100% AI. And if you are not in the game, the door will be closed very soon, because the overhead is less. You don't have to deal with ego. You don't have to deal with personality. You don't have to deal with time management, within people. So these big time corporations in the film industry are now going to be utilizing AI to make a people, create an actor or an actress, and they're going to have them do whatever they need to do. And if the more that AI progresses, the harder it's going to become for you to become an actual actor or actress. And that's what's happening.
Or create content, for that matter.
Or create content, yep.
One of the content platforms just contacted me and said they wanted me to do a campaign for them, but it was going to be completely AI. So basically, they were going to pay me to just be on screen and like use my likeness and everything else to create AI and then put it out. I was like,
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
Yeah. But that's what it's going to be, and that's why I'm saying, you're not. Me and Marie, we were talking about skill sets in the entertainment industry. You're not going to have to be skilled for much longer, because they can manipulate your vocals. They can manipulate your acting skills. All they got to do is get permission to use you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can actually build yourself to become a brand, a person that people want to see, or people are familiar with, then you could be in the door and get offers like that.
Yeah, but then you're also selling yourself short, because that's your IP for the rest of your life. Or
well, you got to negotiate the terms, right?
Even still, like, why would you want to give away something that you've worked hard for? I think they'll definitely get people to do that are just looking for like that check up front. But I think in the back end, the people will be very.
There will be a lot of people grabbing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not the only person they ask. We're like, hey, you're the best guy.
That the bigger AI becomes, that people want to see live people, and live entertainment becomes a thing again. Honestly, well, yeah, I feel like it has died over the years.
I don't even think it's just live entertainment. I feel that I always felt that they keep giving us these streaming services and all this Netflix and all these Paramount and all these deals to keep us in the house. And if you're in the house, you're not going to see live shows. You're not going to events. So if they keep doing that, they make it like you're saving money, because technically you are, because you're not spending that money on live shows.
Mm-hmm.
But if enough people stay in for a longer period of time, then the live shows will be like the big ticket thing, and so we'll be looking to see or to have human interaction again.
Yeah, but the problem where it lies is, if people start, now I'm thinking extra in going back to what we were initially speaking about, if people start to utilize AI for just, let's say, film as an actor or actress, they're gonna be incentivized to stay inside the house, because they are not really that person, right? Or let's say singing or rapping, making music.
Talking about at a concert?
Or just in general, like, I mean, meet and greets are different, but like, to see you do something live, you have to be doing what we know you to do.
But I think that's what I mean. I think at some point we'll have so much AI, and they'll have to tell us, hey, listen, this is AI, and we can't go see AI. And
Yeah,
we will need that human interaction. So we will spend the money it takes to go see a live human perform and be like, oh, wow, we can hear him messing up on his riffs as opposed to AI and everything's perfect.
Nah, but they're not gonna want to hear
But
that.
that
They don't want to see your
part won't
flaws.
sell that well.
You'll lose your AI. They could be like, "Yo, your AI
If we
cards
know
revert."
that you're only perfect because of these AI skills,
Are
that'll
you saying make a person perfect through AI? What do you?
That's
you
what they're
lost me.
essentially doing.
yeah. So it's like if whatever performance or whatever we're looking at is AI, so we think that Mariah Carey has the most perfect voice. I'm just using her for example.
Mm.
Um, but you go and you see her live, and it's not the same. People are going to be less inclined to now
Pay for the ticket.
pay for tickets to go see people live because they know they're not going to get what they're really into about this person.
Yeah, but I don't agree because that's AI. And like as humans, we will need human interaction and we will know that a person is human and we won't expect everything to be perfect.
Well, okay, that I don't agree with. But live entertainment could mean not wanting to go see your favorite artist that you know has AI performances. Could be going to a jazz club and just someone from off the block is performing. That's what live entertainment could be. Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking about with a star.
I'm saying that.
You
But
still want to
unless we
see
have
your favorite singer
proof,
sing.
okay, right. But if what we're seeing, what we're getting online from them is AI, do we have proof at all of their actual abilities? And if yes, then I can see people being inclined to continue going to the concerts. I love me a concert, so I'm going anyway,
Mm.
right? But I'm just saying, some people will differ.
Yeah.
Look at what's happening. They have AI models that are going viral.
You gotta-
I actually got fooled
You
by
gotta
it.
look at their hands. That's
Yeah,
how
sometimes,
they figure it
or
out.
like I would zoom in on their shoulders because their skin is always like a little like I don't know, like it looks like it's elastic, but it's gonna get
Hidden
better,
skin.
right? Yeah, it's gonna get better, and the thing is like these people, whoever it is, are creating AI influencers and AI models, which ultimately is going to become a powerhouse in something in the entertainment space, whether it be an AI actor or actress, whether it be an AI rapper or singer. Because I actually downloaded an AI where if I prop the camera right in front of me and I speak, all I had to do is speak. I forgot how many seconds, 3 or 5 seconds. And then I can type what I would like for it to say, and it changes and moves my mouth to say exactly what I'm looking
It's
to
an
say.
app, right?
Yeah.
I saw that app and I thought it was kind of crazy because where's that data being collected to?
Right? Now imagine. And then, but so like, imagine using AI for AI. So now I have one AI that's going to be able to generate different types of quotes. Let's say if I'm going to do, empowering quotes, then I can take that, upload that quote to this AI using my image, and then let the AI speak for me. And everybody can think I'm that smart. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Fear from
Fear-
a place of being able to do anything, but
Right.
absolutely fear. Like it's coming and you can't do anything to
And
stop
there's
it.
always going to be something bigger and better. The world is always evolving. Like you just said,
Mm.
like you said that television became so big that people thought that theater was going to die. Theater is not dead, especially in New York City. Like
Theater's
the-
dead.
theater is not dead.
It's dead.
Theater, it definitely isn't.
You're thinking only to the biggest place for theater in the country, probably in the last 150 years.
Yeah, I'm talking
You're
about
talking about New York City. I'm talking about United States.
Let's talk about the caves
Like-
in medieval times and like how every little shanty town or whatever had a theater or like a little traveling group, and then how it is now, and that's well, not even just New York, L.A.
It got pushed because it doesn't exist anywhere else.
Mhm.
LA, come
I
on.
can't talk for anywhere else. I live
New
there.
York is the only place. Well, I can't say worldwide because I do think that television isn't as big elsewhere as it is here. I feel like television has the most influence on our country, probably more than any other country. But I'm speaking
I think
with assumption.
I think because Americans love violence more than every other country.
Well, I saw this was it a woman or a man speaking about now this is a little bit about religion, but it also ties into what you're saying. and why they believe America kind of, made being Muslim like the worst thing possible was because everything that America or the West actually uh has profited on, they ban in their religion. Sex, nudity, porn, they ban in their religion. Alcohol, drugs, basically intoxication or losing your sobriety, they ban in their religion. Murder, violence, they ban in their religion. Everything that they ban in their religion is what we profit on here.
Everything that we can control was what they banned.
What do you mean? Everything that we can control.
We can control sex. We can control how sex is marketed. We can control alcohol, how it's distributed. So if you ban it in religion, then it's literally the opposite of like what America is. It's like capitalism. You can't establish that.
Yeah, and I think it's because it's really the downfall of people and humanity, right? Everything that we profit off of, and you're seeing, kind of going back to what you're saying, we love the violence. We love, I mean, the crazy thing is like, at one point in time, imagine how big horror movies were.
Yeah, once upon a time.
You know what I see, and this could also be my algorithm. I see so many big movies being heist, robbery, theft, some type of crime that was being done, and we want to know if they got away with it. I think it's our fantasy. It's our fantasy. It ain't everybody. It's our fantasy. We're sick people in this country. I don't think people are getting like
I don't even think it's
fucking sick.
I don't think we're sick people in just this country. I think in other countries they're just a different type of sick. Because you got to remember they had gladiators back in the day, and that was in Greece.
Is Greece considered Western? Okay.
I'm not a geologist or geographist.
Because I know like parts of Western it also bleeds into Europe.
Yeah. I don't think geologist.
Right? Western civilization.
Geologist?
I don't think a geologist.
I said geologist or a geographist. Wait.
What?
Geo.
She would have been like,
And I've been sending her clips of people stuttering all week too. So let me just be quiet now. Well, because I stutter.
Because we have to be perfect.
And I only stutter like when I just move too fast in my head, but I'm not like a speech impediment stutterer, if that makes sense.
child, if I mess up at home, I be telling my sisters, listen, if I was at 8 at the table, they would not let me live. Like, they would not.
Bro. I was actually editing some content that I made, and I said, I. And I got so mad. I'm like,
Fuck.
I. What the fuck
you
is
smile
that?
when you edit your content?
No.
You don't grin?
Like, what do you mean?
Like if I'm editing content,
You so happy about it?
no, I don't know what it is. Like I'll just be looking at myself, be like, and then like my face hurts. I'm like, and I look over and I'm like, because you've been smiling. Never mind. I guess it's just me.
Nah.
No,
I
mean,
listen to it.
yes, but it's just
I get
I
frustrated.
think it's more
doing that
like
shit.
doing it. It's the
Mhm.
completion of it. So or being in motion, I guess, watching myself in motion and
He's probably
progressing.
like, yes, this video was gonna be so good. Look at my abs.
What happened? I
That's-
can't hear myself on. I don't like hear myself talk, but like if
Oh,
I'm
me neither.
if I'm doing some like Savage Fenty stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah. I guess that's different. I mean,
Yeah, I definitely don't.
now. Now, because at first I hated, like when I first went to the music studio and I tried to make this song and it didn't sound like how I thought it sounded, but I realized it was me that wasn't sounding it that way. It took me a while to get used to my voice. And then once I got used to my voice, because I was like, you know what? I tried to change my voice. I tried to add effects to my voice. I tried to get deeper voice. I was like, yo,
Nigga
put
said,
that.
add the bass. Add the bass.
I'll go to the studio and be like, yo, put that future effect on my shit. Like I'm trying. I'll be like, yo, this ain't it. And they'd be like, it's
You're trying to
you.
chop and screw it.
It's you.
It's you. It's not the effect. But then I just started to accept my voice. So now, yes. But when I edit my content, it's different. Like because I'm not doing Savage Fenty stuff. I'm like,
Yeah, but you don't. Find
I'm not-
Joy? You
Huh?
don't find joy though.
no, I find joy when I like when then like the final thing is done, like the final product
Right.
is done, then I'd be like,
You
oh,
look at
this
it
shit,
like,
this shit fire.
yeah.
But throughout the process,
No, it's
I'm looking
frustrating.
for it. I'm actually beating myself up. I'm like, damn, you should have put like a little analogy right there. You fucked up. The camera's slightly too high right there. Damn, bro, you didn't see that fuzz on your hoodie. Like, like
Yeah, but I'm saying
I'm beating myself up while I'm doing it.
I'll
Like,
do that like when I'm taking the same. Like if I do like 50 pictures, I'll be like I've only moved a little bit each picture. I'll be like, why don't you like why don't you move? So
why you standing there so long?
yeah, like my thing is my boy says whenever I take pictures, I grab an invisible lapel.
What do you mean?
Like I'll grab something that's not there. Like you know how jackets have lapels. I'll just be like this, and my boy be like, yo, let go of your lapel. I'm like,
He'd be like this. He'd be like,
Thank you guys for watching this episode of 8 at the Table. Please like, comment, subscribe. Today was just 3 of us. I was the only girl on the panel. Next week we'll have Aaron back. But yeah, check us out on the next episode. See you guys later.